And I wanted to point out to everyone that, again, this is going to be recorded for my observation for graduate school. Just keeping that in mind.
All right, guys. So welcome to our culture PD. I'm going to review our driving question. So how can we establish a strong, positive student in adult culture that lasts all year long, face-to-face and virtual? Just a reminder of our community agreements, our core values of trust, respect, responsibility, and safety. So for community agreements underneath, for trust, it's exemplified trust through honesty and integrity. Be where you say you are supposed to be. And then specifically for our own little classroom experience, our cameras are on. For respect, respect yourself, others, our school, and community. And for today specifically, microphones muted when appropriate, be positive, and value all voices. For responsibility, be on time and prepared to learn. We will start and end on time, be fully engaged in our learning. And then for safety, wear our IDs and masks, digital citizenship, and proper use of tools and equipment. Today's goal is to develop our day-to-day culture week project. So I know last week some of you guys were able to join us and we kind of got a little bit of some ideas going, and today we're going to try to like buckle down as close as possible as we can, so then that way when we go into our teacher in-service week, we're not worrying about what culture week is going to look like. We can actually just start jumping into content. So I'm going to start with our community circle, and it's going to be a share out. And I thought when Emma, Steph, and I were thinking about what should we do for community circle, I just figured, there's just so much negativity going on in the world around us, especially like in education. Our governor changes his mind like every hour on different things. Our cases are not going down as fast as we would like it. So with all the negativity going around us, let us share out one positive thing that's going on in our lives today. So if you would like to share something out, you can just unmute yourselves. I'm going to go ahead and time it for about, I'll do 5, hold on. What should we have on this one? I'll leave it for, open it for 10 minutes. Okay. And like I said, if you feel like you want to share something out, just go ahead and mute yourself. And community circle is open.
Mine is a small one. At the beginning of all this, we got grass for our backyard, and my backyard is finally looking like a place that I want it to be, so that I can just sit out there and relax with the dogs. But it's still alive, the grass is.
Mine's also little, but both my kids have started to sleep in a little bit more, which means I get to sleep in a little bit more. So.
I was able to go visit my brother after 3 years to Denver.
My oldest son came in for a surprise visit, and he was supposed to leave on July 31st, and he decided to stay until August 16th. So that's a nice surprise. He's going to be with us a little bit longer.
I finished one of my last graduate papers for the summer, and so I have a little bit of a break, not really a break, I'm still doing graduate stuff, but a little bit of a break until UTEP classes pick up again.
Yesterday was my dad's 72nd birthday, and I'm just really grateful that I have him and my family's healthy and happy.
So after so many different plannings of different events and weddings, I finally got married on Saturday. Finally, yay! It was a small ceremony, but really intimate. So what also was special about it was that the 25th was Danny and I's 5-year anniversary, but that was also my grandma's birthday. She turned 83, so we got to sing happy birthday to her, and we did a special dance with her as well. So it was awesome.
Well, I guess as challenges as I got at the very beginning when all this happened, because I do have a little bit of control issues, just a little bit. Getting out of the routine was very hard, but now I get to enjoy some of my kiddos' craziness. So even though it gets tough at times, I think it's one positive thing that I get to spend every day with them. So most of the times I'm very thankful for that.
Anybody else want to share out before we close it? Okay, awesome. Well, that was some great news all around, guys. Thanks. And another, great point is that I'm super excited that I'm starting my second year with you all. I feel like I've been with you for years now, but I'm super excited, especially for this year. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Emma. Emma, do you want to share your screen?
I just wanted to say real quick that that's a positive for us too, Celeste.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
All right, Emma, do you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So it might get wonky here in a second. No, I think that was pretty seamless. Okay. We are in the second part and we're recapping our PD from last week. And I want to remind everyone that our true focus is creating a culture week. How do we share our program's culture with the students? Okay. So the first thing that I think we should open up in this, and you can open it up on your end as well, is what was divided up between the different grade level teams. Those of you who have been with us for a long time know that when we do Culture Week, we have a set of things that we want to get across to the students. Our vision statement, our mission statement, our core values, trust, respect, responsibility. This year we've added safety to that. So we divide that up based on the grade level teams so that they receive all of that information, but it's spread between all of their classes. So for the 9th grade team, oh, there it is. So here is all of what we want to cover for those of you who missed last week. In the GeoLit course, we took on the vision statement, agency collaboration, written communication, oral communication. And in biology, they'll be looking at, again, the vision statement. The reason that the 9th grade team did this is just so that we can do the mission statement a little bit later, but we wanted them to at least see the vision statement in this first week. Trust, respect, responsibility, safety. Jennifer, you've got that. And then in geometry, they're going to be looking at those core values. So we can finagle here a little bit because I know our core values are trust, respect, responsibility, safety. And later in this PD, we are going to have independent work time where we can finagle this around 9th grade team. In the 10th grade team, we have in English 2, vision and mission, and it's going to be merged with the English culture project as well with that time capsule component. They also are going to be looking at the graduate profile and her own, in English 1, their own community agreements. Every single class is going to be taking those core values and our program's community agreements and creating the descriptors that are individual for your class. Okay. And if you'd like me to go over that and what that looks like again, just put that in the chat and we can go to the top of our agenda and outline that again. In chemistry, we have agency, oral communication, descriptors for community agreements. In AP World History, collaboration and written communication. I know he wanted to take that on for the AP writing style that they have to do. And then in geometry, core value and descriptors. And they've already started brainstorming some SEL, which is amazing. And then if we go back, we do not have these things divided up. Oh, we have something. Jane wants to take the mission, vision, and graduate profile. So the 11th and 12th grade team, we actually were missing a lot of our team there. And then Jen and I were down in the lower grades. So do we want to take that time right now, Celeste? I don't know why I did that. To do that, or do we want to do that during independent work time?
Let's wait until the workspace time because we're gonna have some time.
Perfect.
Can you go
Okay.
the rubrics? And Jerry, I added the agenda to the chat box for you. Okay.
And really quickly before I touch on the rubrics, I wanted to remind everyone, it should look like this. Your community agreements are going to look like this. You're going to have your core value at the top. And then you're going to have our community agreements as a program. And then these, the bullet points, are what's going to be individualized for your class. So the rubrics. And I'm pretty proud of something here. Hold on. Okay, they're Space Jam themed. Because again, we want to bring a little bit of levity to our Culture Week. The students, we don't want it to be click here, do this. We do want to, you know, have a little bit of fun with our Culture Week and get them excited about this program that they're in or that they're just starting. So we did put that space theme in it, and you're going to see more space themed stuff in this PD. So we decided that for collaboration, every single class is going to focus on the descriptor of roles. So we have put the emerging, developing, and proficient part of the rubric so that the students can see themselves progressing throughout the week. Agency, we are also looking at building relationships. And again, we put the emerging, developing, and proficient on there so that they can see themselves progressing throughout the week. And this is a great practice to be in, just picking out one descriptor from the learning outcomes so that you don't overwhelm yourself and you don't overwhelm the students.
And this will be also a great time where, remember how last semester Heather did that bookend lesson where you had to check in with yourself? Like that ideally is like the greatest like practice for that, especially. So just remember, like, I know a lot of you, some of you guys are advanced with rubrics per se, and that's fine if you want to add more for your students and so forth like that. But at least for right now, I just want to say, like, this is our grounding stage for everybody. But if you want to add more to your rubric, that's totally fine. It's just I wanted to make sure that we at least had like some type of unison across the board.
Do we have any questions so far on the PD from last week and what we've kind of already created as a program? You can write it in the chat as well. I'll open the chat up.
I'll have the chat for you open.
Okay, I was like, if I could find it, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll open it and I'll let you know if there's any questions, but there's no questions.
Emma, can you zoom in a little bit?
Did that do it?
There, thank you.
Sorry if it's been far away from everyone. Okay, are we ready to move on to steps through PBL?
Yes, and did you go over the theme?
Oh no, I didn't. Oopsies. So the theme, I'll open this since we already have 1,000 tabs open. The theme was chosen between two. The first being the story of us, past, present, and future rockets. Oh no, they've already, okay, so this is the already mashed up version of it. So the story of us, past, present, and future rockets in space. So we're focusing on the story of our program. Where have we come from? What is our core values? What have we built our program on? Who are we today? And a lot of that's going to be your SEL. You know, how are we doing? Who are we? What are you as an individual? And then where are we going? The mission, the vision statement of our program. But again, we're adding that little whimsy of space theme. And you can add, you know, space themed challenges, or one thing that I thought of when I saw space theme was we could have a challenge where they grab an object in their room and they get put in breakout rooms and they watch the little clip from Apollo 13 before, and they have to like figure out a way to solve a problem with random objects that they found in their room. Something to kind of get them an escape almost from from everyday life and kind of get them involved more into Culture Week. So as we move on to the next section, I wanted to show a chart, and please do not mind my crazy background. I have a lot of images. Here it is. Okay, this is very blurry and I am so sorry. I will put the official image in the chat. But we wanted to, for everybody, a reminder, and especially for our new teachers to New Tech. When you launch your project, I'm not even gonna show this anymore. It's too blurry. I'm gonna put it in the chat and you can see that image better. But when you launch your project, you want to start out with an engaging activity. A lot of times that is, again, that Apollo 13 challenge or something that kind of gets the students out of their element. And then you want to have your entry document. Then you go into your need to knows protocol, where they look at that entry document and they dissect it. What do they know about it? What do they need to know about it? Then they go into time with their peers to get into groups to kind of figure out some elements of the project. This could be activities, this could be reading part of the story that they're required to read, whatever it is. And all of your teaching needs to happen between entry document and final product. So sometimes the misstep is to like do a lecture before the project. And really what we're aiming for is for a very, very strong entry event, entry document, go through the process of knows and need to knows about that document, spend time having the students in hopefully and possibly breakout rooms where they can work together on this project, go through the critical friends process, even if it's virtually, and then develop that authentic final product, end product, and go through it as a true PBL. The tighter that we hold to PBL, especially right now, the better, because everything is so up in the air, out of space.
Can I go into the next one with the entry document?
Absolutely. Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah. Thank you, Emma. So I'm glad that Emma went over just the kind of like the frame of how it's supposed to be. Just letting Lugo and Raul know that I'm going to do a PD, or anybody that wants to join, a PD on problem-based learning, because it's a little bit of a different setup than PBL. Geometry is great for PBL though, like it's like the best like place for it and stuff like that. But if you want to do like a smaller little increment, I am going to do some PRBL. So in case anybody would like to join that as well, it's open to anybody, because New Tech says that PRBL is just for math, but I really feel like you can do that in any content whatsoever. Especially when you want to go over something really fast and very direct. I feel I can do for anything. So I kind of wanted to just go and jump into the next one, because as you know, we adapt to change. And so we were gonna part of your guys's pre-work, there was a question that asked about an entry document, like any ideas and stuff like that with it. And I created, and that's why I have it here, I created a whole sheet, and this is where we were gonna start diving into creating an entry document and a driving question and so forth like that. However, one of our fabulous facilitators, Miss Pines, jumped in on it, on her creativity to the max. And what I had asked her is I put in the different ideas that were submitted through the pre-work, and she put it all into one document. So if you guys can go ahead and open it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and give us about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And if you guys can just go ahead and read this to yourself, and then we'll discuss. Okay, so first, I'm gonna open it up to any type of feedback. Do you feel like we need to add something to adjust? Like I said, I got everybody's comments, and I told Jane, like, can you fix something? Can you put this all together? And she has everybody's ideas. And so I first want to thank Jane for doing that. It saved a lot of our time right now during this PD session, because I think we blocked in like a good like 30, 40 minutes for it. Um, does anybody want to add anything to it? Are we happy with it? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. You don't have to type it in the chat box, so it's easier just to unmute.
In the third paragraph, the second line from the bottom, that last sentence, I think it's wrong. That demand we think beyond the spaces we inhabit. Okay, the demand we think beyond. It's just like really hard for me to understand it, and to navigate the learning outcomes and environment that demand we think. That demand us to think beyond the spaces we inhabit. Do you know what I mean? Does it make sense, or am I tripping?
I agree with you, Dawn.
I see what you mean, Dawn.
Yeah.
The demand us to think.
To think,
Yeah.
yeah. And then also,
And us to think as well. I think that does sound better, Dawn.
and then the story of us, our past, present, and future. Do you think it should be like the story of us dash our past, present, and our future instead of a comma?
Or colon. It maybe should be a colon.
Maybe I you know what? I never use colons because as an English teacher, I still don't understand them. So it might be a colon would be better.
A colon is gonna. You wanna take this one?
Okay, I'm like, this is where you English teachers are gonna like help us out with this. So.
We're gonna argue about colons and dashes for like 30 minutes.
So the story of us, our past, present, and our future, or our past, our present, and our future?
Our past, present, and future.
Oh, that's a good point. It should either be our past, present, and future, or our past, our present, and our future.
I like the inclusion of our, because it subconsciously promotes that us mentality.
So
Right.
can you capitalize? Yeah. Okay.
And
And
then
I'm done. I'm gonna mute myself now. Thank you guys.
The thing that stood out to me was I joyfully look forward to composing this year with you. I do understand like that we're writing our own future, that thing.
Thing.
I don't know. That just stood out to me. It's fine.
Yeah. Do you like it, or do you think it's awkward?
I think it's a tiny bit awkward, but also the only thing I would replace it with in my own mind was navigate. And that just sounds treacherous.
So
I like navigating.
I like navigate more, certainly more than composing, because
what
composing
about
makes
exploring?
sense. Oh, exploring.
Because
Oh,
we're exploring
exploring.
space. We're
I
exploring.
like exploring. I think exploring
Yeah.
is better than navigating on that one.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that? And we've got navigate in the body of the letter anyway.
Pacheco, what were you saying?
No, I like that too. Exploring space. That was a good one.
Okay. So what, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and the first thing we're gonna vote on is, are we okay? Because we're gonna go to the next thing after this, but are we okay with this being our entry document? Thumbs up that we agree. Thumbs to the side, we still got to talk about it, or thumbs down like heck no, let's start all over again. Thumbs up. Got everybody? Awesome. Okay, so step 2 is we need a driving question. So remember the driving question, and this is like I'm gonna kind of do like a fast like PD with your entry document for Lugo and Jerry on this. And where the heck did it go? There it goes. So remember, for your entry document, this is what the students are gonna learn. Like out of like this whole process of the project, this is what it's gonna learn. So your vocabulary should be part of your lesson or unit, should be part of your entry document, because when you grab your notes and need to knows, it should be that. So for example, ideal graduate, that should be a need to know from students, because what the heck is an ideal graduate? That's what they're going to be learning about with the project, stuff like that. So the driving question needs to be, it's more narrowed. If you guys remember how we ended the project last year too, how we had it a little bit more narrowed. So with that in mind, what do you think a good driving question would be for the whole culture? I kind of, so we can input it into the entry document. And if this is easier to type out for you guys, type it out. So Heather says, how can we utilize information from our past, our present, to make us more global citizens in the future? Ooh, global citizens. I like that. Anybody else? Or Jane, I see you typing. Like this is where we lean on our English teachers. Done. Jane, what if we took Heather's and did this? How can we utilize information from our past and our present to make us ideal RNT graduates? What do you guys think? If you want to unmute yourselves, you can to talk about it.
What about how can we learn from our past and our present to, to what?
Jeff said, how do our experiences from the past and present help us to become more global citizens in the future?
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, that might be good.
So where would you add this driving question into here?
Within the document, right?
Yeah.
Is the goal this week for them to become global citizens, or is the goal this week for them to know that they are the stewards of this program? Like they're the ones taking the torch and moving the program. Do you get where I'm hung up?
Oh, I see.
That's a good point, Emma. You're right about
I
that.
think
I'm
that's a
thinking
very
like
good
more in
point.
big terms, but you're right. As far as this project, we should focus on that.
So maybe instead of global citizens in the future, how we can something with the program.
How can we
Propel this
revolutionize
program?
or
maybe better urban rocket citizens or something like that?
Oh, that would be good. Urban rocket
I was
citizens.
thinking like probably focusing on the community. Like how can you be a better citizen to help your community? So it's not only Washington Tech, not the whole world, but it's the Northeast, your community. I don't know.
I still think it's better to focus in on our new tech community first before we
jump
because
in.
we only have a week and some change for some of us, but a week to create final products that relate back to this entry document. And I think that it should kind of be more focused on Rocket community. I don't know.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying, Emma, and also you, Jerry, like how you want them to start expanding to the next level of things and stuff. Now, remember, culture shouldn't just be the 1 week type of deal. So maybe like you have, maybe that whole community stuff could be like your whole year type of deal, Jerry. I remember when we were first talking about culture, there were some ideas of doing the service projects and everything, and we had said, maybe it takes a little bit longer than a week. So just remember, like, even if we don't do a whole span of community right now, like it can come up later. I also liked how Pacheco had it. How can we use the new tech blueprint to take us to the great unknown? Also, I do think that we should just narrow it down to just new tech, because that way this is our new tech culture. And then and then when we come back in January, then maybe we take that next step. It's like, okay, how do we spread our new tech culture to the community in the Northeast and so forth like that? That would be the next step.
I have a question. Do the students for like to graduate, do they have to complete community service hours?
Not anymore.
They get a cord if they do.
They get a cord if they do. They get a nice teal one.
So who's like
emerald green? Emerald green.
Yeah, emerald. Sorry.
Still is dual credit.
Yeah. I gotta add that to the thing.
So like who's in charge of their community service?
The students are supposed to complete, as they complete hours, they're supposed to log them in into the system. Like there's a website within EPISD where they have to submit their hours. And then Ms. Maria Hernandez, our student activity director, she has access to those reports.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Jane says, how can we learn from our past and present to successfully craft the Rocket New Tech Galaxy that will take us to the great unknown of this year? I like that, the great unknown, because it really is a great unknown for next school year. Everything keeps changing. What do you guys think?
The focus is on crafting it. They're creating it.
Right.
And so, but it also focuses on the Rocket New Techs, and it goes more with the theme of the letter too.
I'm worried about the unknown part, just thinking like they might not think that we know what's going on. And even though we don't, we want them to like know like, hey, we're going to get through this together type of thing. So maybe propel us.
Brave New World.
Something like that.
I'm glad you
Oh,
mentioned
no, not the
that,
Brave
because
New
I
World.
had
I
a
meant
hard
you
time
read the
with that
book.
one.
No.
Heather, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was saying I was glad that Stephanie said that because I wanted to say something about the great unknown. I feel like we keep saying stuff like that, and it's kind of got a negative connotation to it if you think about it, because yeah, everything is unknown. From day to day, it's unknown. We all know that, but we want to give them the confidence and the, to be able to look ahead and be like, we got this, we can do this and stuff. And if we keep calling it the great unknown, it's like, oh, well, what's going to happen next? But
it's very apprehensive when we say
right,
that.
and we want them to know that no matter what happened next, they can do it and they got this. And so I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Heather. We need to let them know that they got this because they do.
Okay, so Stephanie put, how can we learn from our past and present to successfully craft the Rocket New Tech Galaxy that will propel us forward towards success?
I like that one.
If we do that one, and I actually like that one, we need to take successfully out. It becomes, how can we learn from our past and present to craft the Rocket New Tech Galaxy that will propel us forward towards success?
Right, too many successes in one sentence. You're right.
Oh,
yeah. That's it right there. I think I would vote for that one, just saying.
I would vote for that one too.
I agree.
Craft it a little bit just to be the English teacher here or there. What do you all think of that one? And I can hear that in Stephanie's voice, just so you all know that.
Any other comments?
No. Okay, so my next question is, where would we input it in here?
I would actually put it
at the bottom, at the very end?
At the bottom, at the, let me see. Let me go back to the document.
Would it be here like where it says, as we explore and celebrate each facility, we'll ask you to brief.
I like that paragraph, Celeste, that you're looking at. As we explore these new spaces, can we put something like, let's think about how we can learn? Can we just incorporate it into that?
Yeah, I think so, because I like it to be here too, because I like this last paragraph here, but I think it would fit really good there. So Jane, take over.
If we are going to incorporate it, can we underline it so that they know that that is the driving question?
Okay, so let me do something real quick.
And don't worry about the formatting as far as the images, Jane. Just
you'll
go for it.
Okay.
I'll redo that.
All right, let me get back on the letter because I keep finding myself back on anything but the letter. There I am. I'm on the letter now. What if we just put it at the end of the paragraph? As we explore these new spaces, let us lean on, celebrate, and learn from each other. Each facilitator will ask you to work together to bridge the spaces between us to tighten the bond that holds us together. We are the Rocket New Tech family. The question I ask, how can we learn from our past and present to craft the Rocket New Tech's galaxy that will propel us forward towards success?
I like that, but I think it should be like its own little paragraph then if you're gonna put it as a separate.
Make it okay.
Actually, it
So
sounds like
where it's like
too
this,
much in there.
almost like a closing.
Yes.
And then should it be the question I ask of you?
Yes.
Or why not just say our driving question so that it's obvious?
Okay, so our driving
This is turning into like a JFK moment where she's like, I challenge you.
Our driving question is, whoops, our driving question. Because the kids know about driving questions. Even some of the new freshmen coming in will know about them.
Right.
And I'm going to have a mixed class with my seniors. There's going to be main campus kids in my senior classes.
Well, I'm going to have, my juniors will be mixed as well.
Mhm.
So that,
I'm going to, this might sound repetitive, but I'm going to reiterate that for everyone, it is vital that even in the digital space, our students spend time with this document, identify words that they don't know, because my freshmen aren't going to know all the words.
Right.
Heck, some of your seniors aren't going to know all the words. What concepts do they not know? And go through that knows and need to knows process along with the next steps.
Right. Right.
Now, do we want to hit them with this letter in every single class, or do we want to say this discipline will take that? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it should be per discipline, because what if like the discipline is English and they don't have you until 8th period?
Right. Well,
so maybe all first period or something.
If we don't hit it with every class, we've been through this in so many different forms. If we don't hit it with every class, we'll miss one student.
Yeah.
Right. And so on the other hand, and I was going to ask Celeste if she wanted to do a vocal recording of it this time, or another visual recording that we can play for them. And then
I can record it. I will have it. I'll record it too. That's fine.
Bust out that red blazer.
I know. Am I right?
Background, baby. And I guess what I was thinking about was, if they've done knows, needs to knows, and next steps in Stephanie's class, now granted, they're also going to have the letters from each of us depending on our own parts.
Right.
I've always been a big proponent of them doing the knows and need to knows process a lot that first week, so that it sets a tone for the rest of the year that this is an expectation.
You don't think it would be too repetitive for them to do it like in Steph's class and then come to my class and do it?
Nope.
No, because I think we can also have a follow-up, like a second part to this entry document that's specific to our class.
Specific to class. Okay.
So,
maybe we can ask them how they relate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So are we, okay, let's take another vote. Thumbs up, we're okay with the entry document. Thumbs to the side, we need to discuss, and thumbs down, it's like, heck no, let's start all over again.
Can we like make the font smaller so that it fits onto one page?
Yeah.
I will be formatting, Donna.
Formatting will work.
I will format.
It breaks my heart. That's happening.
That's not my thing. That's Emma's.
All right, then. So we're gonna move on to the next thing, and so we're gonna be looking over the RNT PBL toolkit now. For my new teachers, I know we're gonna have to go into this a little bit more with you all, and this will be a separate a PD that I have to do with you. But for everybody else, this is a little bit more general. So for main campus, they are doing a common lesson plan template, meaning that a whole department is turning in one lesson plan per team now, and it has to be on that lesson plan template. However, for the PBLs that we're doing, it's a little bit more, not stricter, but it's a little bit, there's a lot more focus that we have to do when we create our projects, per se. So I'm gonna have Stephanie go ahead and go over it with you all. Stephanie, do you wanna share your screen? And do you want me to stop sharing mine?
Yes, please. Okay. So you should be pretty familiar with this. I did change the color. It was red and it was a little harsh on my eyes, so I changed it to blue. And renamed it Rocket New Tech Project Planning Kit. So this is what we had been using with a few adjustments, okay? To look at, we always look at the beginning with the end in mind. What are we wanting them to get out of this? We need to look at the TEKS as usual. We are by law required to make sure that we cover the TEKS. One of the new things is how is it tested? And this was something that Dr. Val had shown us or on her sample, and that was something that this is always something that well, how are they going to be tested on this topic? Are they going to be looking at graphs? So that we need to make sure, okay, we need to make sure we have them looking at graphs within this project, or whatever the case happens to be. Of course, the driving question for the project, what authentic connections do we have? And if we're going to have audience being able to come in and to see. one thing that I know I'm guilty of always forgetting is the problem statement, which we put in here specifically so that we make sure we remember the students when they're going through these projects, and we want them to be able to explain the projects. They need to know, like, what's the purpose, what's their role, what are they going to be doing within this project. And so that's the purpose of the problem statement. So we included that in here. The authentic tasks is, again, what are they going to be reading, listening to, writing about, and discussing on the lesson plans that everyone else will be doing. They have this component of the reading and the writing within their classes. So we're expanding it to include the speaking and what technology are they going to be using. So for example, I would put, like, you know, they're going to be reading this article about Mendeleev or whatever happens to be the case. They're going to be listening to this TED Talk or writing about this in their journal entry or whatever happens to be the case. The learning outcomes, those are the agency, collaboration, oral communication, written communication, of course, knowledge and thinking, but that kind of goes with your content. So that's why we focused on these 4. And we included the rubrics in here. Now over here, the learning targets, one thing that Celeste had mentioned earlier was how complex the rubrics can be, or Emma, and how we want to focus on 1 or 2 indicators per rubric to make it easier for us, to make it easier for the students. So in this space is where we would want you to put those learning targets, but in the student-driven language. So it's something that they know that this is what we will be getting out of this project. And it doesn't have to be just 1 or 2 learning the indicators, as many as you think, but not to overwhelm them. When you're determining the culminating products, that's the second part of this toolkit. What is the group project? How will they be presenting it? And then in the individual products, I know one thing, again, that I'm guilty of is striving away from the written performance task, previously known as IACs, but this is something we do need to happen. We need to support their writing a lot, and it should be individual for this part. Entry, event, and documents, key academic vocabulary, and then we put in anticipated knows and needs to know so that you can start thinking about the scaffolding stuff that you would be doing throughout to help answer these knows and needs to knows. And then the bottom part is the calendar. So it's a weekly calendar since projects typically can be longer. So we have week 1, 2, 3, 4. In each day, you need to have your daily goal. What's the goal for that day? What's the bell ringer that you're going to be doing? What activities are you going to be doing? What is the additional support that you will be providing for your ELLs, for your LEP, for your SPED, whoever needs that, for your gifted and talented, whoever needs that additional support? And then your exit ticket. So this is your day-to-day lesson plan in this little calendar part. Okay. Are there any questions?
Okay. I just want to say that Emma said, in the how it's tested section, I would recommend taking STAR questions or AP questions to model your assignments or real world tasks on. That's very true. And especially if you're doing, I know a lot of you guys did the Springboard training as well. Look at how the questions were stated on Springboard as well. That would be a really good problem statement also to have. Dawn says the authentic task looks so much like the language components in the new ELRTs brought in a thinking component to language. I wonder if we can add it there or if it's even necessary. You can if you want to. It's totally, it's up to you. Like the idea of the toolkit is just your thinking and your planning on it. So if you feel like it's important and it's needed for the students for them to learn, add it. If you just feel like it's an extra task and it's not really relevant, then don't add it, if that makes sense.
I'd like to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, Celeste, but adding is great, detracting is not.
Yeah.
Everything in there is very, very purposely placed. And then the authentic, that one section that says authentic connection, to me in my planning toolkit is the most important part, because I'm always thinking, what role would the student play if they were an adult dealing with this situation, or if they were, you know, an authentic person. So let's take our space themed, you know, whatever. they could make daily logs like they were in space or whatever it is. I think about an authentic connection to the real world that project can take place in.
And I just want to add, Raul, just put that I know departments have sent you out another one, and it's the one that I created for the rest of the campus. However, Ms. Gibba knows that this one specifically is for my new tech teachers. So this is the one I'm asking you guys to fill out. You don't do both because both is going to be too ridiculous. Just do this one, and I made sure I added the components on the other one to this one as well. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. What you have in the math one is on this one. It just takes it further to work with our projects.
Exactly. It's deeper learning. Okay.
So I will ask that you guys go ahead and make a copy of that one so that you have it in your drives, because this is what we're going to be submitting for our lesson plans.
Thank you. Okay, Emma, take it away.
And of course, I need to find my nope. Sorry, guys. I lose track of my windows, like which window. Nope.
Can I add something real quick about the lesson plan that we just looked at, or the project toolkit? It's my understanding that the calendar at the bottom, at least on a daily basis, is the agenda that we get to the kids. That's so if you have not heard that yet, that's something to keep in mind. That bottom calendar is actually that daily agenda that the kids see.
Just make sure you take out any SPED and LEP support.
Right. Yeah, don't put, what you can do is put additional support, but don't put any descriptors.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen just to show you what our workspace is going to look like today. So I created a workspace document, and we wanted to emulate what we would normally have, which is all of us sitting in a big room or the library working and being able to ask each other questions, being able to communicate with each other, like, hey, 9th grade team, what about this? But in a virtual world, it's a little bit different. So we're not going to do breakout rooms. We're going to stay all together. We ask that you go into the, after I stop sharing, that you go into the agenda and you click on that workspace link. We are going to continue sharing this as we work. I'm going to stop sharing and Celeste will share it, but I want to show you how it works. Each teacher or teacher team, Dawn and I, will have a page and another page, 2 pages to work with here, so that if you're at the bottom, and please make sure that you put your font at appropriate like sizing. So if you're at the bottom of you've been working real hard and you got so many ideas down, you have a little bit of extra space to work with here before you get to your other teacher's workspace. So basically what it is it's a space where all of us can be thinking about SEL activities that we could do during this first week, this culture week. We could also be thinking about culture activities, and these are the ones that have been broken up by 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade teams. I do know that we need to have our 11th and 12th grade team possibly meet in a breakout room really quick to discuss how they're separating everything out. But this gives you the space to work, and if you have a question or if you have an idea, you can unmute yourself and throw it out to the team. I'm going to stop sharing. So if everyone can go into the agenda again and open that up. And then Celeste, if you can you put Raul, myself, Jennifer, Jane, Heather into a breakout room just so we can separate out the 11th and 12th grade.
Emma, what are we opening up from the agenda?
You're opening up the workspace, and then everyone's going to have it open, and Celeste is actually going to share it as we work on it so that she can kind of see what we're all doing with our workspace time, because we do have a large chunk of time today to be brainstorming individually. And like I said, if you have a question, if you have an idea, unmic yourself, ask the team, just like we're in a big room
So it's Raul, Emma, Heather, and Jen.
Yes.
Jane has
And
the
Jane.
juniors.
All right. All right. One more thing I just want to add for everybody else. There is a little where it says SEL activity. Those are the activities that all of you guys submitted for the pre-work. So in case you guys want to look and get any ideas or anything like that, I just wanted to document all of that information for you guys also there. Okay.
Think about space theme.
Everybody else will just stay in the main room, by the way. Oh my God. Okay, and then just so that's like I said, brainstorming, but Lugo and Jerry, like, do you guys have any questions? Like, this would probably be the best time if you want to share out, or if you want one of the other facilitators to share out something to help you out with anything. I know it's probably a lot overwhelming and stuff like that, but I want to see how much we can help you guys out too.
Do you think you could share one of the lesson plans that you've completed before?
Okay.
Yeah.
Steph, do you want to just?
Yeah, I'll share mine. You want me to share the screen or just send it to you, Ale?
You can just.
I can explain, or so I can explain it.
Oh yeah, why don't you share the screen? That's fine.
Okay. Let me find it before I start sharing my screen, though.
And then what I'm gonna do, Lugo, is also I have a geometry one like filled out, but it's gonna be different because it wasn't the same toolkit as what because it's when I was on my previous campus. So that way you can kind of like see the similarities and everything like that. But I do want to get with you next week though, so then that way I can like sit virtually step by step and how to do it and stuff like that. And Jerry, too, in case you want to come along with that also.
Also, it's not 100% complete because we did adjust it from what we, so this is what we used last year. So I had, the topic was nuclear energy, and then these are my TEKs that I went over. My driving question was nuclear energy and era of their future. Should the world close nuclear power plants? And so I had them read different articles. I didn't do this part very well, but listen to workshops and videos, journal entries, critical friends for speaking, and then online simulations I used. I had a public audience, and then just some of the stuff I had them do, collaborating, and then the oral and written communication. So they had to create a PSA, whether they're pro or con nuclear power plants, and then the presentation was we viewed them, and then we had a discussion and a poll. The written performance assessment was they had to write a letter to the city council explaining why or why not we should have a nuclear reactor built near El Paso. And then for my entry event, I had them do a risk perception activity, and then we watched a video on Germany closing nuclear power plants. We watched the trailer for the HBO special Chernobyl, and then a video on what really happened there. And then we did a class poll of whether the world should close nuclear power plants or not. So I did the poll at the beginning and at the end to see like if anybody changed their mind after the project. And then their entry document was, I used a Picto chart. So typically you want to have some kind of something paper where they have to read and like pull out vocabulary and stuff. Oh, it's really bad. Oh, here we go. As well as like an activity or something for them to do engaging, and then their vocabulary. And then this was just my day-to-day calendar. And since I do a lot of it on Google, I was just able to link everything anyway. Does that kind of help, or hopefully that doesn't overwhelm you more?
No, it makes it better because I can
Okay.
see what each thing needs.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to send that to you so you can see it as well and like peruse through it?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll put it in the chat.
And you guys prefer the Google Forms rather than the forms with the 365?
That's just because I had been using Google before we got the 365.
Okay.
So that's the only reason that I have the Google, but I know the forms, it has a lot on Microsoft 365 has a lot of what you want it to do anyway. So at that point, I think it's just preference.
Okay.
But I think with the 365, you can select, well, I know you can with Google as well, but you can select where it's only the EPISD.
Yeah.
And so you would force the students to use their EPISD because they all have it. So.
And then also just like thinking like long-term wise, in case you're not with the district anymore, it's easy to save your Google stuff, like transferring it over and everything like that. So that's another reason. Steph, remind me to get with Dale also, so then that way we can see if he can send some of the lesson plan stuff also that he had for geometry for Lugo to help her guide through.
Will do. Actually, let me text him right now.
And then one question, what is algebraic reasoning? Because that's like that extra class.
So actually, I have to talk to you a little bit more about your schedule too. When we're all done with this, we'll talk a little bit later. But the algebraic reasoning, it's basically algebra, but like 3 steps down. So yeah, it's super basic. Like the first couple weeks is like whole numbers, decimals, fractions. It's very, very, very basic. It's very, very basic. So I wouldn't even stress. And actually, you can do a lot of like problem-based stuff and project-based and algebraic reasoning because of how well it's all blended together and stuff. So sometime, well, and I keep saying like next week because this week is just, it's already Wednesday and it's just crazy. And so if I pick a random day next week, then I'm free and I send it to you, you'd be okay? Or is there like a preference day or anything like that?
I think I'm free every day except the 5th.
Except for the 5th? Okay.
Yeah, I have a doctor's appointment.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll probably set up like 2, for sure 1 day, but I'll probably do like 2 different days depending on like how much material and everything like that we have to cover and stuff. Okay. But yeah, algebraic reasoning, like I hate the class because it's like, it's a joke because it's so easy. It's super easy, but it's just your kids. But Jerry, do you have any questions or anything like that?
About the lesson plan, you know, the upper part, I can add some information there, but I can always change it, right, and adjust it.
Yeah. And I sent you guys also it through email, just a Word document, and then I also sent the one that the campus is using. It's called Creating Students' Path to Learning. So in case you want to like just copy and paste over your bottom agenda over, and that could be to the students or whatever, that's fine also. Okay.
And then one more question. I'll be teaching regular world history for main campus, and then regular history for New Tech, and then AP for history. So can I teach the New Tech version to the main campus?
Yeah, go for it. Honestly, that's what Jane was doing that when she had her switch over last year also. And the thing is that you're gonna realize like if you set up, and this is where like I'm trying to like teach and educate people where it's like if you set up your norms, like your community agreements, like from the get-go, you set up your culture. However, we're setting up New Tech, and this goes for you too, Lugo, for your algebraic reasoning class. Set it up the same way as how we do with New Tech. Do the culture, embed agendas, embed that type of like stuff like that, because 1, your behavior is going to go down because they're going to be used to routine. Teenagers need a routine. And then 2, if you make it as engaging as you make your New Tech stuff, as you went to New Tech classes, like it just goes, it's going to be so much easier for you to plan things like as a flow. You have to remember also is that on main campus, the English department, they're all transitioning to PBL. Like their units and everything like that are already doing PBL. So the kids are going to at least have another content that's already used to that as well. So don't be afraid to use what you have over there. Now, the only thing I would just say is don't say, okay, well, New Tech, we do this, like with your class. Like, don't even bring any of it up. Like, don't bring up anything with New Tech. Just do it. Just say, you know what, like, for the campus this year, the campus is going to have community agreements like New Tech, and you're going to see the community agreements look a lot like ours over in New Tech as well. So yeah, so I would challenge you, like, do it, because it's best practices for students in general. You know what I mean? And the more we can help any urban student, the better. You know what I mean? Like, Pacheco is not, Pacheco doesn't have the label as New Tech, but I'm sure Pacheco is still going to do the best practices and stuff like that, because it's just the best practice in general. Like, students should be engaged and have best practices and stuff. Okay.
Thanks. Yes, that's gonna be way easier then.
Yeah.
Than finally 3 preps.
Oh, you little girl, Jerry. Okay. Guys, I'll be right back.
So just remember right now, if you click on that workspace, that's just put any thoughts down. If somebody has an idea already and they kind of wants to share out with everybody, I was gonna say share out with the class, share out with everybody, unmute yourself or anything like that. Again, this is just a time to kind of brainstorm, think, put down stuff, share out. We can do a mini critical friends if needed and stuff, but again, this is like our work time in the library when we're all separated and stuff.
So on the first day, I normally do like a get to know you bingo where they get up and walk around and they have to find someone who like is an only child or find someone who whatever, and they have to sign that person's name, and then somebody else bingo, then they have to present to the class. And I want to do something like that, but obviously they can't be walking around talking to each other. So would it be too lame like if I just like have all these random things and then they call it out, or like I call it out? Do you think they won't share?
You could also do the spinning wheel.
Well, like,
oh,
call
you're
on
right. Never mind.
students?
I didn't hear it correctly.
Like it's bingo, and I would have bingo cards and like send it out. Like I figured out a way to do bingo virtually.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if like students would actually participate when it's something like that versus like when it's in class, they were talking to each other. So it was better for them. What do you guys
I
think?
think they would still. I think it would be a good idea.
You think they would still participate?
Yeah, I would. I don't know, but maybe not. I don't know if it would be like right away, like first day activities, maybe when they're like, maybe like at the end of the first week, you know,
Okay.
if that makes sense, because maybe then they'll get a little bit. I have a question and I keep forgetting it, and then I remember it and I forget it. I'll be back.
Okay, thanks.
I also would love if we can have all of our New Tech students make Bitmojis of themselves, and I will buy the stuff to make buttons to give to Emma, and then that way when they come back, like they have like their little pins of their Bitmojis on them and stuff like that. So I was just thinking like the whole like when we had them decorate with the spoons, but like this is something like they can always like carry around with them and stuff like that. But yeah, like.
We can also do like class photos, like line them up and then.
I love that. That is so awesome. Yeah, but I don't want to make my Bitmoji because I feel like mine doesn't look like me, so I'll just hand over my phone to somebody or my user account, and you guys can make it for me.
Is there a website or? I don't have one.
I just know it's an app. Like you can download the Bitmoji app. Like I know it's on Snapchat, but I know there's also just a Bitmoji app. I don't know. I'm sure that there has to be.
I've never been able to create it outside of Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm sure that there has to be one.
So they have the app, and the app comes complete with like lots of different really cool outfits and hairstyles. Like you're really gonna want to get the app. Glasses,
I got it. What if we made them buttons that were strong enough to hold their IDs on, because they're going to have to wear their IDs? Is that correct?
Yeah, so the IDs is going to be a campus-wide thing also.
So if there was something that maybe a button that's strong enough that they could put the button, it would have their ID hanging from it.
Right. Is it this app?
Yes, that's it.
Downloading now.
But like in theory, couldn't they just like connect their button to their lanyard? Right?
Yes, they could.
What was the name of the app?
Bitmoji.
Bitmoji?
I put it in the chat. It's BITMOJI. Jerry, I really like your Bitmoji classroom. Emma and I have been getting pretty wild with ours as well.
My biggest thing,
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
my biggest fear about it, John Ray, is like if we link assignments to it, would we have to link them for all the different classes that we have? Because our assignments primarily would relate back to Schoology, right? So like if we linked an assignment that they turn in Schoology, would it be a different link for our first period than it is for our third period? Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, oh my gosh, I really have to unpack what you just told me.
I'm sorry.
Like, whoa.
I had a Bitmoji like stress stream last night where they couldn't click the link.
So, I mean, would we be linking the assignment or would we be linking the...
I see it more as like a cool supplemental. Like I have one set up for my college readiness class where they have a bunch of like a time where, okay, let's go into our Bitmoji classroom, and it's a place where they can just kind of explore resources all over the internet. Not necessarily, like some people use it as their agenda for the day. Yeah. And that's what I was fearful of is like, oh, if we use it as or if someone tries to use it as an agenda, would it get all funky with the links?
Yeah, no, I would definitely, because then we'd be doing like double the work. I like it better with like our classroom library and like that quick, if they need to, like the teacher app that I'm doing instead of like, I prefer that. But yeah, actually let me share the library with everyone so they can
please share one of them. It's so cool. And it's a great SEL activity as far as like culturally responsive. You could have them just look through the library, read a children's book, and then do a free write for 10 minutes. And that's an SEL activity that's really good.
Those of us who are in the 10th and 11th grade level together, if you look in the chat, these are conversation starters that I think Chris Sherman actually shared yesterday. And if we start using them, we kind of need to talk to each other about who's using what, in what context. There are tons of them, however, and they come with lesson plans that actually back these things up on both the New York Times and on Parlay. And I like Parlay just because, you know, the
what is Parlay?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, it's not a, okay, I thought someone had created some kind of debate website.
It actually is.
Never mind.
That it's a negotiation website. The idea is to teach them how to have conversations around ideas and learn to negotiate ideas.
I am so trying to figure out digital debating because my students love debating. Right.
I'm going to be using Flipgrid a lot too.
And just also remember that Miss Gibba did buy the license for Nearpod for everybody. I don't know if you guys have been familiar with it and stuff like that. I absolutely loved Nearpod when I was in the classroom.
And you can use Flipgrid within Nearpod. It's one of the options.
Ooh. That's even cooler. And I put the links in my SEL activities.
Don, did you want to share your screen of the Schoology page?
Yeah, let me get there real quick and then I'll share.
Whoops.
Hey, Jen, let me know if you want to get together to plan on biology stuff.
Okay. I was kind of looking at it when I was with Arlene for curriculum planning. And I think I'm gonna start with the cancer project now. But I could use your help with tweaking them for a more virtual friendly and
No, for sure. Sorry, Arlene let me know about the curriculum planning dates after they happened.
I know. I was like, Steph's gonna be teaching it too.
Jen, our students would love to still be present in whatever presentation, so we could have like a virtual open house or whatever for cancer project. That would be cool. Okay. Like during our class period or whatever. We'll have to figure that out.
Figure it out.
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen real quick. So this is just Emma and I's sandbox. So we have all of our Bitmojis and we have a cyber cafe. We have the attendance folder. They're gonna go in there and answer the question of the day. We have week 1, week 2, week 3. And we have our classroom library, which this is incomplete at the moment. But it's really cool. I figured out it took me a hot minute to how to embed in Schoology. But I now know. So if you give it a minute. Maybe a couple minutes. This is like an African American library. Yeah, so they can click like Coretta for MLK Jr.'s lady, and they can click directly on it, and it'll take them directly to the audio of the read aloud.
And again, this could just be like a free write activity too.
And then there's like an indigenous library. There's like crazy stuff, guys. I'm actually gonna share it right now. But we took all of them and we put them in one slideshow. So there's actually Miss Rosales did it. Black, Latinx.
Is that the LGBT one underneath it?
Yeah, here's the LGBT. You got Miss Rosales in there. Then bullying and emotional health. Like you can literally just click directly on any of these books and it'll take you to one. Health and wellness. And then this one, I guess, is still getting By the Waters of Babylon. There Will Come Soft Rains. This is for the English curriculum.
I was about to say.
Yeah, but I'll share that link with you guys in case you want to use it in your classroom as well.
If you go to a Facebook page called Bitmoji Crazy Teacher, is that what it's called? Bitmoji
The-
Craze Teacher.
For Bitmoji Craze for Educators.
There are templates on templates on templates just like that. So you could find some where it's science based or it's whatever based. But I would use it as a supplemental, not as a daily agenda, because I feel I had a stress dream last night about it.
I do understand. I've been had I was super stressed out about creating our teacher app, and I had to go back and find a new one because that one was giving me so much problems.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna kind of transition back over to the agenda. And so let me share it really fast with you guys. So on the agenda right now for closing, my question asking is digital workspace extension needed? So this next part would be completely optional. I know right now it's like kind of we're doing our own things, how you're gonna set up the classroom and stuff like that. Do you all feel that next week, possibly towards the end of the week, let me back up a little bit. So Teacher PD Week is going to be crazy, guys. Like super, super crazy. The district's telling us that we need to give you guys more time to for you guys to set up and everything, which is great. Also, what Ms. Gibb is going to be doing is she's going to be having you guys go into your classroom, having a certain time in case you guys need anything in there, like your Elmos or so forth like that, in the afternoon. So during the afternoon time would have been like the PD that I would want to have set up with you all. But since you guys are going in the afternoon, like it's going to be it's going to be harder for us to come together and to collaborate and stuff like that. So we're going to have to get a little bit creative. The goal was for us to finish Culture Week before we went into the Teacher PD Week. So that way Teacher PD Week, we just actually start doing content, looking into that and so forth. So my next question is, would you guys be okay if next week we have an optional, and again, it's optional, to come and meet and we just do critical friends on what you're doing in your classroom for Culture Week? And that would be specifically just critical friends. You share out what you're doing and then that's it. Get feedback, adjust, and then that way when we go into Teacher Week, I can kind of see how much time we have because there's other things that we have to go over still too. But then, like I said, I want you guys to have time to start planning like content with everybody else and so forth like that. So just think about it. I'll send you guys a request for it. More than likely, I'll probably have it on next Thursday, which is the 6th. I know usually we meet on Wednesdays, but I'll probably have it on the 6th in the afternoon.
That's good.
Probably like at 1 this time.
Okay.
It'll probably be at 1. So what I'll do is I'll send out an email and I'll have like a sign-in sheet, like just saying like what order you guys want to go in for critical friends, and then sign up, and then you guys can come. If you don't want to, that's fine. But again, like it'll be optional. But just know that that's going to probably be the last time we can kind of really touch Culture Week or anything like that until we go into when we actually start.
I would, if you can make it, I would encourage everybody, because Celeste, this counts toward the critical friends that needs to be done for our stipend as well, correct?
Correct. Yeah, correct. It is. And the thing is that if you looked at the stipend, and that's the thing that during the PD Week is that I want to go into the stipend with you guys in depth, because you guys have actually covered like 25% of your stipend already, compared to other campuses that haven't even touched the requirements of the stipend. So like Missy and them give us like a lot of credit of how much work that we've already done. But I just kind of want to show you guys like already like how much we've accomplished and this short amount of time and stuff. So I'm going to set it up for next Thursday, the 6th at 1 o'clock. I'll do it for 1 to 2. I don't think we'll need to go longer than. If we do, then great. I am going to also set up some time next week to do some PRBLs. I'll send out, and I'm going to put optional on them, okay? So I'll put optional on all the PDs and stuff like that. one thing that I want to do is any PDs that we do is I want to record them so then that way we can create our own library. So in case we get another teacher that comes in like mid-year and they want to know what's a driving question, well then click on this link and here's what a driving question is, PD 101, just for you and so forth. So any type of
Speaking of that library, Celeste, I am going to make a video going over again the planning toolkit so that when you are filling out your planning toolkit for the first time, you will be able to go through with the video and make sure everything is where it needs to be. And I should have that up tomorrow so that you can already start doing your planning toolkit for Culture Week. Like that's a great way to practice that planning toolkit.
Okay, so we are gonna set up some different optional PD next week because I know this week the Just Group was doing PD. That's why I didn't want to do it this week. Jessica also is gonna do or all wants to do a PD with you guys on how to set up a virtual project board, which is actually pretty cool. Also next week. So again, it's gonna say I'll say NT optional. You don't have to go to it, but the one that if you guys can, which will be the 6th, will be at 1 for the Critical Friends for Culture Week. Okay. All right then, guys. Well then, I do want to say thank you for coming today for an hour and a half. I know it was a lot, but I think we got a lot done too. If you have any questions or you want to collaborate with your teammates or anything like that, especially for our new teachers, please reach out to either me or any of our experienced facilitators to get any type of feedback or guidance. They'll help you out a lot, especially with what they're used to doing culture and stuff. Okay. Any other last questions or thoughts or anything like that? No? All right.